Kamala Harris is the latest who's apparently throwing her hat in the ring. Multiple reports earlier today say Kamala Harris will enter the presidential race on or around Martin Luther King Day. Senator Kamala Harris will formally announce her bid for the White House on or around Martin Luther King Day, sources told KCBS radio, a station in her home state of California. The sources said she would probably make the announcement at a rally in Oakland. A spokesperson for Harris told The Hill, however, that no announcement is imminent and Harris will not be in Oakland during the holiday weekend, blah, blah, blah. Harris has long been considered. During a CNN appearance, Harris said she thinks the U.S. is ready for a woman of color to be president. Quote, "We have to give the American people more credit, and we have to understand that the American public and the people of our country are smart people who will make decisions about who will be their leader based on who they believe is capable, who they believe has an honest desire to lead, to represent, to see them, to be a voice for them, even if they have no power." And she also said it will ultimately be a family decision, and over the holiday, I'll make that decision with my family. Blah, blah, blah. So, what do you have to say here? Because, at the end of the day, Kamala Harris is the dream candidate. She is the dream candidate of the corporate Democratic establishment. She's a woman. She's black. So anybody, whether it's Bernie Sanders, whether it's journalists, whether it's political activists, whoever it is that point out nothing about her personally, but point out her record, which, let's face it, she's only been in the Senate 2 years. Barack Obama was in the Senate 2 years before he ran for the presidency. I would venture to think most of you watching don't exactly think that worked out so well. Kamala Harris is the dream candidate because the Democratic establishment can distract, deflect, and distort for all day. Whatever you say, you're a racist. Whatever you say, you're black. Whatever you say, you're a member of the KKK, which is what I experienced earlier today. So I tweeted out, I didn't exactly think it was like slander. I tweeted out, Kamala Harris set to announce her run for the presidency. In 2 years in the Senate, majority of her donations have come from financial interests, including Wall Street, financial industry lawyers, and the real estate industry. And you can't see her donations there, so here you go. They say 3 years. I don't know why, because she officially became senator in 2017. So maybe they're including her campaign donations when she was running for the Senate. She officially became a senator in 2017. So let's say in 2.5, 3 years, $2.2 million from financial attorneys. $2.2 million from financial attorneys. Those are not lawyers from the ACLU, folks. Those are financial attorneys. So she got $2.2 million there. Then you got over $1 million from movie stars, actors. She is from California, so you would think she's going to get celebrities, musicians, all that. No problem with that. She's got $995,000 for women's issues. Sometimes a lot of this group are groups like Emily's List, Planned Parenthood. Frankly, Emily's List is not for Medicare for all because it would most likely put them out of business. So, women's issues are great, but you got to read in between the lines. Some of those women's issues groups, not exactly for the issues we're for. And then you have, retired, and then you have Wall Street. In 2 years, she's taken $770,000 from Wall Street, followed by $575,000 from big real estate developers. And then you have $453,000 from business services. I don't know about you folks, but I think that's a hell of a lot of money to have taken from financial attorneys that represent Wall Street, that represent hedge funds, that represent big financial companies. Wall Street, almost $800,000 in 2.5 years. Big real estate developers, which are like the rest of the country, gentrifying many, many, many neighborhoods in California, such as San Francisco, such as Anaheim, Los Angeles, Oakland. So I'm not calling her Lucifer, But this isn't exactly, taking a lot of money from labor unions. This isn't a lot. Actually, this isn't taking money from, progressive groups. These are the who's who of the financial industry she's been taking money for. And, contrary to the hyena attack I got this morning, which I'm about to show you, they're not exactly, donating hundreds of thousands of dollars, or in some cases, millions of dollars, to work with her to pass Medicare for all. They're not exactly donating millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's get that free public college for the kids, shall we? Let's end private prisons. Let's put an end to this fracking, which makes us so much money. The rest of what I tweeted about Kamala Harris, it's not exactly like burning down her village here. Here's what I tweeted. In the summer of 2017, just half a year into her term as senator, Harris met with Hillary Clinton's top donors in the Hamptons. I do not think they were there to strategize how to pass Medicare for all and free public college. I thought that was fair. Is that so scandalous of me? Is that racist? Is that sexist? And then I tweeted, tweeting these facts is of course going to bring out the identity politics police, painting me or others as racist and sexist. Frankly, I don't care if Kamala Harris is purple and gender neutral. She's the same old, same old. We need a candidate that draws the starkest, and I don't have the rest, starkest contrast to Donald Trump. So that, oh boy, did that get me in trouble. Here's the first one. Bernie bros kicking the smear machine into high gear with the revelation that Kamala Harris is going to announce her candidacy. We'll know it's serious when Sirota chimes in. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Oh my God, the attacks on me. They might as well call me the new Grand Wizard of the KKK. It was so ridiculous. You call yourself a progressive? Shut the hell up. We have no room for you. Go work for Trump. Hashtag racist. Hashtag sexist. This is exactly what the Democratic Party has in mind, pushing Kamala Harris. Immediately attack the messenger as racist and sexist. Little boy, black women will drag you by your small nuts. Try it. Black women are the backbone of the party, and slanders has not a place in the party we helped build. Go back to sucking on your thumb, and we definitely won't let your racist behind trash a black woman. Well, first of all, I appreciate the compliment. Truth Slayer. But I gained a couple pounds this holiday season. I wish I was a little boy. I'm a little big right now. I'm trying to lose some weight. So, thanks for the compliment. But, woo! So, I don't even need to respond to this. It's so ridiculous. There's a few more. Poor Bernie bros. So much clear the field for the saint. So little time. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Well, thanks for the info. Not about Harris, but about you and status quo. 2 more for the block list. Okay, block me. But Martin Luther King wasn't killed by a flying dollar bill. He was killed by a bullet. Bernie Sanders has the @NRA to thank for his career in Congress. Yes, that D- that Bernie Sanders has from the NRA. That's what he has to thank him for his career in Congress. Cool. Now can you find Bernie's tax returns? Hashtag the resistance. Hashtag no revolution. What is Neera Tanden writing this? I feel like Neera Tanden is really a lot of these accounts. I really do. And meaningless observations. Yeah, so just totally meaningless that she has been hoarding money from Wall Street, financial attorneys, real estate developers in 2.5 years. Means absolutely nothing. Why even bother? Why even mention it? They should just take as much money as humanly possible. It doesn't affect them one bit. Of course they're going to take hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars from certain special financial interests, and then they're going to vote for the people. That's how it always happens, right? This is hardly a shock, as those are the people who have the money. And I don't give a good goddamn. She's the most progressive U.S. senator. She's smart and quick in debate. Her experience is solid, and her being a black woman is icing on the cake. Oh, she's the most progressive U.S. senator. Okay. Based on what exactly? She's smart and quick at a debate. I see that. Her experience is solid. I don't see that. She's been a senator for 2 years. I have nothing against a black woman running for president. This isn't me reporting on her to get her not to run. I say the more the merrier. I don't have a problem with her running. Let her run. Let anybody run who thinks they're qualified. But you better be prepared for people to point out who the hell you're taking money from. Whether you're white, whether you're black, whether you're purple, whether you're green, whether you're glow in the dark, it doesn't really matter. And this reflexive argument immediately, you're sexist, you're racist. I mean, I don't even want to get into where I usually go to report. I'm not exactly going to report in like nice neighborhoods. I generally go and report in communities that are downtrodden. I generally go and report in communities of color, in indigenous communities, in poor communities, poor black people, poor Latino people, poor white people. That's where I generally go. But yes, I'm a racist. I'm a racist. You know, going to Flint all 13 times when honestly, if I really wanted to get the clicks and grow, I would have been just covering Trump like everybody else 24/7. But I'm a racist. There's more. There's more. I know a lot of black people and they know me. Snort, laugh. So basically that's the argument that what I just pointed out, which my actions clearly show I'm not a racist. That in itself means you're racist because I'm saying I cover things in minority communities. Running another white male candidate is, quote, running the same type of candidate. It won't work. I don't understand how one can claim to be, quote, progressive while calling people of color dismissive names for trying to get the white majority to understand that racism is real. You don't get it. Well, Mohan Warusha, racism is real. But there's also something called nuance, which is also a rule. So let me understand, let me explain to you one thing that needs to be talked about more as far as racism. Who was harmed the most? Who was the majority class that was harmed the most by the 2008 financial crash? Who would that be? I'm not condescending, I'm reporting. Who would that be? African Americans were harmed disproportionately by the financial crash of 2008. So who Kamala Harris is taking millions of dollars from, almost $800,000 from in 2.5 years, that industry, their illegal fraud disproportionately harmed black people. So racism isn't only what you say. Racism isn't only how you treat people. Racism is actually policy. You know, there's something called racist actions and racist policy. And I'm not condescending. I have met black people on the campaign trail that are just as smart as anyone else on policy. This isn't to say black voters don't know what they're talking about. This is to say it's a ridiculous and disingenuous argument to make when a journalist or even a political organizer point out a candidate for president, Kamala Harris, has taken a little too much money from financial special interests in just 2.5 years. It's ridiculous. Frankly, it's offensive. And it's a distortion. It's a way to distort, to deflect, to distract, to say, you're racist. Well, I do the same thing when it comes to Beto O'Rourke. I do the same thing when it comes to Joe Biden. I did the same thing when it came to Hillary Clinton. I'm going to do the same thing with Cory Booker. I'm going to do the same thing with Kirsten Gillibrand. Frankly, when Bernie announces, I'm going to look at his latest donations too. I don't really expect to see anything really disconcerting, but I am going to look into Bernie's donations too, because I'm not here just to elevate Bernie. If there's something troublesome in there, I'll be the first one to tell you that too. So it's this reflexive, disingenuous, ridiculous, intellectually dishonest reaction. And that's why the Democratic Party wants Kamala Harris. I think a lot of people in the Democratic Party want Beto O'Rourke because he's the new shiny thing. But I think the bulk of the Democratic Party want Kamala Harris because they see politics still. They're not understanding. They see politics in terms of demographics. They're not understanding that it's not about the demographics, it's about the policy. If it were about demographics, millions of millennials wouldn't have wanted Bernie Sanders in 2016. But millions of millennials did want at the time, a 74-year-old disheveled white Jew from Vermont because of the policies. So tweets like this, who rationalize, well, the problem is running another white male candidate. No, that's not the problem. The problem would be running another candidate pushing centrism to Republican light policies. Running another candidate that says America's already great. Running another candidate who has a record that voted for disastrous trade deals, disastrous wars, disastrous policies that help deregulate banks. It doesn't matter if it's a white male, if it's a black man, if it's a black woman, if it's a giraffe. The policies of the candidate are what matters. Let me tell you something. If Kamala Harris had a record as pushing from day one when she was running for senator for Medicare for all, free public college, ending private prisons, banning fracking, and the things that we need as a country, and then actually walk the walk, if Kamala Harris didn't take these big corporate donations from day one, then I would be leader of the pack saying Kamala Harris is someone we need to consider, along with Bernie Sanders. But that's not the case. That is not the case. So trying to say you're not progressive if you point out a woman of colors, first off, I didn't call her any names, a woman of color's record and who she takes money from, that's intellectually dishonest and it's offensive. But say whatever you want. Your smear campaign will not work this time, bro. Okay. It's not a smear campaign pointing out her record, but whatever. And to be fair, I believe this is from the Intercept, but her campaign committee, I guess since she's been elected, has raised a lot of money from people under $200. So that's technically considered small dollar donations. So she is right around there. She's right around there. Well, not as much, but she's raised a lot of small dollar donations of under $200. So that's a good thing. That doesn't mean that she's not in bed with Wall Street, but it does mean she gets a lot of small dollar donations too. But the problem here is the issue isn't between the issue really isn't between centrists and progressives. The interest is from the big business that runs the Democratic Party, and those big business operatives are trying to co-opt. They're trying to co-opt the Democratic base by screaming racism and playing identity politics. So then when you mention the term identity politics, then I have somebody on Twitter saying, identity politics equals civil rights. No, it doesn't. Identity politics equals civil rights.